gonna see the fact that people are replacing the need for action with empathy. Oh, I feel so bad. Full stop. They think that because they feel empathy towards a certain cause, that action is not required. I also feel like a lot of people are empathetic but choose not to show it due to societal structure. In case you weren't aware, fishes are one of the most abused animals in the world. One of the most common traits the most abused anything has in this world is the fact they lack the characteristics that provoke human empathy. Humans empathize more with animals that show familiar signals such as expressions, vocal cues, etc. This is sort of like how parents to 7-year-olds are more likely to react emotionally to a different 7-year-old that's homeless. It's really about that familiarity. This is also known as empathy bias, which we'll be talking about a little later on. All of this is the reason people empathize more with a dog rather than a pigeon, because of its expressions, body language, verbal cues, all of which resembles human signals to a certain extent. Think of insects. It is so normalized to abuse insects to the point that it's not even considered abusing. I believe the reason as to why is because they cannot speak. The reason this is really concerning is you can also see this a lot in domestic violence victims. We can all play angel here. We can all play a saint. But truth be told, I can promise you, your heart doesn't ache when you see an ant getting squished. Now, it doesn't make you emotionless. It's just that you've seen it too many times to the point you've become desensitized to it. I tell you right now that every minute one person dies of smoking. I can't see through the camera, but I can promise you you're not crying. You can't feel empathy towards a chair for being broken. You can't humanize a chair. You can't feel empathy towards a chair. The same way when I say 300 people just currently died across the world in this exact minute, you felt nothing hearing that. Now, if I laid out pictures of people that have died in a genocide, people that are going to be walking, they're going to be crying while looking at it, because they can conceptualize and humanize those 300 people because it has a face to it. I believe that it's because when we see someone's face, we can either see ourselves in it or we can see someone that looks similar to them in their face, and maybe this humanizes them. The growing rate of this empathy epidemic has to do with technology, bottom line, because think about it. Before, when you were like 7 or 8, when you heard someone swear, you'd be like, oh my god, you said a swear word. But when you grew older, you heard it so much so that you just became normalized to it. So now if someone swears in a regular conversation, no one bats an eye, no one blinks, because it's normal. I think that the same thing has happened with empathy, in the sense that if you saw bad news before, it was very conflicting, but now when you see it, it's like not the only one, you know? It's the same sort of normalization between the two examples. And I do believe that doom scrolling and seeing suffrage and terrific events over and over again has sort of skinned us of our empathy in a sense. Like, also, one thing I do want to mention is the fact that you're going to see people who feel more bad when a dog dies in a show rather than when actual people die in a show. Because the reason they feel more for the dog than actual people in said movie is the fact that when they look at the dog, maybe they can correlate it to other dogs that all have a common trait of not betraying them or not hurting them. I think that a lot of empathy is selective empathy, because people can feel extremely bad for a genocide that's happening to certain kids rather than feeling bad for something that's happening to other kids. I do believe that a lot of empathy has to do simply with personal experiences and how just like the reason they feel more for the dog than actual people. You can't really hold people accountable for their empathy because it is an internally biased system. So when someone feels more for a dog than they do for people that are dying, that has to do with personal experiences, and you can't change someone's conception. Maybe you can give them the facts. I don't think that there's anything wrong with giving facts, but as far as dictating someone's empathy and telling someone that you're a bad person for not feeling empathy towards something, it's, once again, an internally biased system. I do want to end the video off on a pretty clear note that this empathy epidemic is probably desensitization, mass access to technology, and overall linking our personal experiences. Anyways, that rounds it up for the video. I think this was a lot of blabbering, honestly, so I'm gonna edit this in a way that it makes it seem like I said something informative or smart. Thank you.